out of the red corner, an undefeated mixed martial artist holding a perfect professional record.
What's up, YouTube? Crossover MMA back with one more video. This will be my UFC Vegas 97 recap. I went 8-3 on the card, which is pretty good. I got a lot of comments from people saying I helped them win a lot of money. Just don't be upset with me if you listen to me in the future and you end up losing money. But timestamps will be in the description. And with that, let's get right into the video. So first fight on the card, we got Zygimantas Ramaska versus Nathan Fletcher. So in this fight, guys, round one, Nathan Fletcher comes out trying to grapple right away. You could tell it was his game plan straight away. Zygimantas lands a nice elbow from the bottom, and I don't know if it was a cut or if it was his nose, but Fletcher just starts bleeding right away. Then they get back to their feet. Fletcher gets another takedown. Ziggy reverses the position, ends up on top of Fletcher. Ziggy then catches Fletcher in a reverse triangle, but it's a little too high on the face. Not really any threat but finish. It kind of was to be annoying, but it was a very close round. I gave this round 10-9 to Fletcher, but if you gave it the other way, I totally would understand. Then round two, we come back out. Fletcher gets a takedown 45 seconds into the round, gets right in the full mount. It gives his back. Fletcher locks in the arm triangle for the tap. And that pretty much sums it up. So let's move right into the next fight. We have Andrade Pertroski versus Dylan. So in this fight, it's just rinse and repeat for 3 rounds. Like the first round, Pertroski comes out, Budka's moving around on his bike, dancing around the octagon. Pertroski gets a takedown, controls Budka for the rest of the round, doing enough ground and pound and enough like little small strikes here to hold a position. And that literally was the entire round. And this literally happened for each round. So that sums up that fight. Pertroski wins a 30-27 decision. Moving right along to the next fight, we got Jacqueline versus Vanessa Demopoulos. So in this fight, Amorim she catches a kick probably 30 seconds into the fight and ends up on top. And you can tell right away this is right where she wanted to be. The grappling sequence starts. Amorim gets side control. Then next thing you know, she has 3/4 mount, softening up Demopoulos with some few strikes here and there. Then next thing you know, you hear Demopoulos yell out, "She's got her hands on my glove. She's got her hands on my glove." And then next thing you know, she's in an arm bar and she's tapping, and that's the fight. Demopoulos stands up right away. She's protesting the fight, talking about she had her hands in my glove, this and that. But ultimately, it's a first round submission for Amorim, and you know, she's moving on. And I can honestly see her BJJ being a problem going forward. So moving along to the next fight, we have Yizha versus Gabriel Santos. So round one of this fight, both guys come out feeling each other out. Pretty much just going tit for tat to start the round. Santos is finding his range a little quicker than Yizha. And he's also a little quicker as well. Quick little right hook lands for Santos as Yizha was trying to close the distance. And it backs Yizha up instantly. You could tell like it definitely had an effect on him. Yizha then gets inside. He actually got an inside leg kick that got checked. And you can tell right away that he hurt his foot. Like he was forward on the pressure before the kick, but then once that kick got checked, he literally just started backing up to the octagon, and Santos lands a big 1-2. Both guys are trading. Santos, I would say, is getting a slightly better of the exchanges, and then he lands a huge front kick right to the face, drops Yizha. Santos swarms him. He's trying to get the finish. I don't know how, but Yizha manages to survive the end of the round. But it's a very clear 10-9 round for Santos. Then we have round two. Santos lands another big front kick to the face, and Yizha just eats it. This guy's chin is crazy. Both guys are landing. But again, Santos is just landing the slightly heavier strikes and just getting the slightly better of the exchanges. They then wind up in the clinch, and Santos lands a huge elbow on the break. And Santos is pretty much just showing his full game. He lands an elbow that opens up a huge cut on Yizha's forehead. It's a very competitive round, but I gave it a 10-9 for Santos. Then we go to round 3. Santos comes out, lands 2 really big right hands to start the round. You can tell it had an effect on Yizha because, I mean, he just yelled at Santos after he landed those 2 big right hands on him. At this point, Yizha starts to get very aggressive, and right at that moment, Santos lands a perfectly timed takedown about 3.5 minutes left in the round. Santos mixed up some ground and pound, then gets the back, lands some more strikes, and controls the rest of the round. And it's another 10-9 round for Santos. And he wins a unanimous decision, 30-27. Moving right along to the next fight, we got Felipe dos Santos versus Andrade Lima. Now, this fight was a fun fight. First round, both guys coming out, feeling each other out, rather. Trying to find the timing and the range. Both guys are landing some solid strikes here and there. Lima's being a little more forward on the pressure, but not overly forward. He's kind of like getting on the edge of the range, and it's kind of like trying to draw out strikes from Santos so then he can counter. Both guys are landing. Santos is landing a few more strikes in this round. Santos also lands a big spinning elbow right at the bell. It's a very close, very competitive round. I gave round 1 10-9 to Santos. Then we go to round 2. Lima's forward on the pressure again, mixing up the strikes very well. He's using punch, kicks, knees, just using his full bag of MMA. Lima standing basically right in front of Santos and countering every time Santos throws a strike. Lima then lands a big takedown by reversing Santos shooting a takedown on him. Then there's about 3 minutes left in the round. Lima gets full mount, controls Santos for the rest of the round. It's another competitive round, but with the grappling and the control, it's a 10-9 round for Lima. Round 3, Lima's right back on that slow forward, methodical pressure again. Lima lands another takedown from the clinch with about 4 minutes left in the round. Lima then gets back control, locks in a body triangle, goes for a rear naked choke. Dos Santos manages to fight it off and survive to the end of the fight. But with so much control time, grappling, and little ground and pound strikes here and there, it's a very clear 10-9 for Lima. So he wins the decision 29-28 on my scorecard. Moving right along, we have the next fight. We have Isaac Dulgarian versus Brendon Marotte. So in this fight, Dulgarian comes out and they do the glove touch and he gets right on Marotte, like straight away. No diddy. Shoots a double leg, gets a takedown right off the glove touch. He lands a takedown. He pulls Marotte off the fence so he can't use it to get back up. And you just can see this intense pressure and pace with the wrestling. It looks very reminiscent of like a Hamza Chimaev type in the first round. He goes for an arm triangle, but Marotte survives it. And for me, this was a very clear 10-8 round for me. So moving to round 2 rather. Marotte comes out, starts the round, goes for the Jorge Masvidal flying knee to start the round. Dulgarian just basically grabs and takes him down straight away. Dulgarian gets full control. Marotte is even trying to get up, create a scramble at all. Dulgarian then locks up an arm triangle and gets the tap. So moving up to the next fight, we have Rongzhu versus Padilla. So round 1, both guys coming out, throwing very heavy calf kicks. Rongzhu spins Padilla around with a calf kick. It was so heavy. Both guys are throwing big shots just out of range, and they're not really landing much, but you can see both guys are literally standing right in front of each other, and they're trying to both do damage. It's a very tit-for-tat round. Rongzhu really starts to open up. Both guys land very good strikes, but I gave the first round 10-9 to Rongzhu. So then we have round 2. Both guys are opening up big time. Rongzhu lands another very heavy leg kick that drops Padilla. Both guys exchange and they land huge shots. Padilla lands a very huge elbow and it instantly shuts Rongzhu's eye. Like It was right on the button, right on the eye, and there are actually some pictures of Rongzhu's eye just swelled up very badly, and it basically was closed straight away. The ref calls a doctor in. The doctor takes one look at the eye, stops the fight. It's a TKO for Chris Padilla, round 2. Moving right along, we have Trevor Peek versus Yanal Ashmouz. So coming out in this fight, Trevor Peek comes out very much forward on the gas in the first round, throwing some big, wild, heavy shots like he always does, with exactly what he's known for. Ashmouz is pretty much on his bike, trying to avoid these wild, crazy strikes as best he can. And then as he's going back to his feet, Ashmouz lands a very good knee to the face. Peek is right back to throwing these heavy, wild strikes, not really landing much. And that pretty much ends the first round. It's a very competitive round. I gave it to Ashmouz 10-9, but if you gave it to Trevor Peek, hey, I would totally understand. Then we have round 2. Peek is still throwing these huge shots, following Ashmouz around the octagon. He isn't really landing much, but the shots are just so big and so wild. Peek then starts to touch Ashmouz a little bit to the body. I think he was starting to hear his corner trying to tell him to stop headhunting and go to the body some. Then Ashmouz locks up a body lock and is pressuring Peek up against the octagon. And Peek starts to land some strikes, but Ashmouz lands a couple takedowns. It's another close round, but I gave this a 10-9 to Ashmouz as well. Then we have round 3. Peek is, at this point, he's looking a little gassed, but starts around with some heavy strikes again. He lands a very heavy right hand. Both guys are exchanging strikes. Ashmouz initiates another grappling sequence with the clinch. Then Ashmouz starts to, at this point, Ashmouz is like sticking to Peek. Like Peek just cannot get Ashmouz off of him. Ashmouz lands a big left hook, and both guys are throwing huge shots. That's another tough competitive round. But for me, I gave this to Ashmouz 10-9. So for me, it's a 30-27 unanimous decision for Ashmouz. Moving up to the next fight, we have Schnell versus Cody Durden. So round 1, both guys are going right at it, exchanging in the pocket, guys landing heavy shots to start the fight. This fight was a lot of fun for as long as it lasted, guys. Like Durden just comes out coming forward, throwing really big shots. Schnell is holding his ground as best he can, and he's returning fire with big shots as well. And it essentially just turned into a brawl. It was pretty fun. Durden lands a huge overhand right, and it was a very fun first round. I gave the first round 10-9 to Durden. Then round 2, both guys literally pick up right where they left off from in round 1. They're exchanging, they're landing. Then Schnell shoots a takedown from way too far out. Durden defends and sprawls very well, and in the sprawl, like wraps up Schnell's neck in a ninja choke. Schnell then starts trying to roll to free himself from the choke, but Durden just rolls with him and then ends up on top and still has the choke. And Schnell ends up double tapping with both hands, and it's a round 2 submission for Cody Durden. Schnell ended up leaving his gloves in the octagon, retires after the fight. And like I said, guys, it was a very fun, fast-paced fight while it lasted. Moving up to the next fight, we have Steve Garcia versus Kyle Nelson. So round 1, this fight starts right off. Steve Garcia throws a kick, first kick of the fight, slips and falls, and then Kyle Nelson just jumps right on his back, sinks both hooks in, and at this point, it's looking like Kyle Nelson is going to get a finish very quickly. So he Garcia some ground and pound, trying to slip that arm underneath the chin, but then Garcia reverses the position after about 2 minutes. He does that. Once he does that, he just starts opening up with the ground and pound. And then next thing you know, Garcia starts to land some heavy elbows and heavy hammer fists. Then this one elbow lands, and you can just tell like it hurts Nelson very badly. Nelson's trying to scramble and survive at this point. Then Garcia lands another huge elbow, swarms Nelson, and gets the finish, gets the TKO finish. Then we have the co-main event between Jessica Andrade and Natalia Silva. So round 1, Silva comes out on her bike. She's got a lot of feints, a lot of good footwork. mixing in the jab, the teeps. Andrade essentially is trying to close the distance and following Silva all around the octagon. Silva at this point, you can tell she has a little bit of a speed advantage. She's just landing the faster, crisper strikes. Andrade tries a blitz to get into the clinch, but Silva manages to break free. Then Andrade finally gets into the pocket and she lands 2 really good hooks. Andrade then lands another hook that's very heavy. She rushes in to try and throw a fury, but Silva throws a side kick right to the body and it just backs Andrade off instantly. It's a great first round, but it's a clear 10-9 for Silva. Moving into the second round, we have Silva. She comes back out on her bike in round 2. Andrade is pretty much staying on the pressure. She knows she's got to close the distance because Silva has a significant reach advantage. Silva's doing her best job landing strikes, moving out of range, circling out, and just being the faster fighter and just keeping on the end of her strikes. Silva then lands a jab to the eye of Andrade. You can tell it hurts her badly. I think Andrade thought it was like an eye poke or something because she was very forward, and then as soon as that landed, like she was backing off for sure. Silva and then Andrade, they both are exchanging at this point. Andrade lands some of her hooks. Silva then lands a jab and some kicks to the body. And for me, it's another 10-9 round for Natalia Silva. Then moving into round 3, the ladies pretty much picked right back up where they left off in round 2. Just right back on the pressure. Silva's touching Andrade and then moving off like she has been this entire point into the fight. A big 1-2 for Silva lands. She then lands a huge spinning heel kick right to the chin. Then lands a hook kick right to the face. And at this point, Silva's just deep in her bag and she's moving, got the footwork going, and just looking very, very good. Just isn't out of the fight. She's still very much into the fight, and she's still on the pressure at this point. She lands a big left hook, probably like her biggest shot in the fight. She goes for a flurry, but Silva answers back, and that'll do it for the round. I mean, I gave this another 10-9 for Silva, and we got a new contender at flyweight. People pretty much gave this 30-27 for Natalia Silva. And then we have the main event, Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady. So round 1, the fight starts with Brady throwing and landing more strikes than Burns. He's not really doing much damage with these strikes, but he's pretty much just touching Burns. And then at the end of the combination, it's like Brady will shoot in for the clinch, push Brady up. Gilbert Burns up against the cage. Gilbert's having a tougher time finding the range and the timing. And like I said, Brady just ends up like after those combinations, he just pushes Gilbert up against the cage. And so the Brady blitzes that closes the distance, and he just ends right back up in the clinch. And he just did this over and over. Brady then gets a body lock and uses that to control Gilbert Burns against the cage, and that's the round. So this was a clear 10-9 for Sean Brady. Round 2, Gilbert Burns comes out, lands a huge overhand right, and it stumbles Brady right at the beginning of the round. Brady recovers, and then what does he do? He initiates the clinch. Gilbert lands a big 1-2, and then Brady initiates another clinch. You can pretty much tell this was Brady's game plan. And then even once they're breaking the clinch, like Brady landed a couple good short shots. Gilbert Burns is landing the heavier strikes, but he just isn't throwing enough. It just hasn't enough volume. I gave round 2 also 10-9 for Sean Brady. Round 3, Gilbert Burns comes out. He starts using his hands a little bit more, letting his hands go. Lands a big right hand as Brady tries to close the distance. The pace of this fight is just crazy, and you know eventually the gas tanker is going to play a really big part in this fight. Brady then lands a big takedown after eating another big right hand. I gave this round to Gilbert Burns 10-9, so I have it 2-1 for Sean Brady so far. Round 4, Brady comes out showing like he has a little bit more gas in the tank. Brady lands a timely takedown. Burns gets right back to his feet, then Brady takes him right back down. Gilbert Burns scrambles right back to his feet. Now we're seeing both guys are kind of tired. You're seeing them breathe kind of tough at this point. It's another close round. It's another tough round. But I gave this another 10-9 for Sean Brady just on the volume and the activity. So then we go on to round 5. Both guys you can tell, are digging deep in round 5. They both want to win this fight. The pace has slowed down a good amount in round 5. Now after about 3 minutes left in the fight, then they start getting after it. Sean Brady still looks to be the fresher fighter. Brady then lands a timely takedown with 2 minutes left in the fight. Burns gets back to his feet, but Brady takes him back down straight away. Burns, and you can tell at this point, Gilbert Burns accepts the position, doesn't really try to do much. Brady controls Burns for the rest of the round, and it's a very clear 10-9. And it's a unanimous decision for Sean Brady. And after this win, Sean Brady might crack the top 10 with this win. If you made it to this far in the video, thank you to everybody. We had a very solid Apex card last night. I should be releasing my UFC 306 video tomorrow, so stay on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching the video, especially if you made it this far. I have a goal to hit 200 subscribers by October. It's a small goal, but it's my goal. If you like the content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you get notified when I upload. And until next time.